Hey guys, Mr. Ridgway here with our next lesson on migration. Today we're going to be taking a look at some modern migrations and effects and issues with them, and doing some really kind of deep critical thinking about some very complex issues. With that though, I'd like you to do this warm-up on Pear Deck. I've had some trouble with it, but hopefully it's working now. I'd like you to look at this image, and then on Pear Deck, tell me what story about the US that the artist is telling, showing, creating, etc., etc. And if you can, tell me why. Go ahead and pause the video now if you haven't answered yet, and I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. This artist is showing you the westward expansion of the US and trying to show you that migration. Now, they do have a very particular portrayal of it, and the portrayal that they're giving you here is it is a positive development. This manifesting of destiny, which is the spreading of the U.S., the idea that it was destined to spread all the way west across, I hope that's west when you watch this video, the United States. Now, the question for us, though, because we do want things to be more complicated, is we also want to, first of all, we want to understand the perspective and how we know that this is a positive interpretation of this. And second, then, we want to say, okay, it is this, but then what? So how do we know that this is a positive interpretation of Western expansion? So the first thing that jumps out to me is the actual colors of the painting. And so if you look here, we can see that the eastern side of the painting is very bright, it's positive, it's open, it's warm. And then on the west side, notice that the painting is actually going west. It's very dark, negative. It looks like there's like storm clouds. It's kind of has this chaotic nature to it. What they're showing you then, what this artist is trying to portray for you, is that there's all this development then on the east side, right? We've got railroads. We've got this lady who's actually, if you notice, stringing telegraph wire westward. You got, it looks like steamboats or boats out there, in the very far east. The land is being developed, quote unquote. We see civilization happening, right? And I'm going to be very careful to use those terms in quotations, because then the question becomes, it is progress, but at what cost? And of course, the cost is going to be the, hundreds and hundreds of Native American, distinctively individual Native American tribes that are going to be displaced because of this, and some kind of weird mix between forced relocation and genocide, and a whole bunch of other things. So what I thought I might show you as an accompaniment to this, because we like history to be complex, and we have this development story on the one side, but I thought, since everybody's familiar with it, the Oregon Trail, and I'd like you to click on this video and watch it. It's about the R-rated Oregon Trail, and by R-rated I mean ultra realistic, because again, the Oregon Trail is one of these things about people heading westward. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, so I'd like you to watch that video and check that out. It's pretty cool. The main task for us today here is we're going to look at the impacts of 8 different modern migration issues. Okay, and some of the effects of these things, and they are ridiculously profound. The second thing that I would like you to do, and I've mentioned this in Schoology, but for homework, is I'd like you to go and watch how to do the family tree part of your project. Okay, and begin to at least play around with it. Again, we want to have that wrapped up here pretty shortly. So here, if you go to this slide, are the 8 stations on modern migration. Okay. Over on the right-hand side, we have a graphic organizer, and this thing is really, really simple. It's literally just 4 boxes. All that the graphic organizer is asking you to do is to take what you've learned from these stations and to summarize what you got from them. Okay, now it could be something that might surprise you. It could have been like a new term that you learned. It could be some details, about them. Maybe it's something that personally connects to you in your own life. And once you've done that, then, okay, you're going to submit that into Schoology below today's lesson. Now, what are these things? I'll give you a brief intro to them, and then you click on them and you can go dive into them a little bit more deeply. There's videos, there's things that are interactive in them. Please make sure you play around with them, because they are really, really cool, and they're awesome and very interesting. So let me give you a brief intro on them so you know which ones to pick. You only have to, again, to do 4 of the 8 that are on here. Okay, so the first is brain drain. So of all the students that I pulled in our classes so far this year, very few students plan on returning to Avon after they go somewhere after high school, whether that's work or, graduate from college, et cetera, et cetera. And so brain drain refers to this phenomenon where we lose talented educated individuals to other places. And so you can look at some of the effects of that. It's very interesting. Latin America, if you've heard anything about immigration from Mexico or Honduras or Colombia or different countries in Latin America recently, that station looks at those and some of the issues that things that have been in the political discourse for a long time. So, for example, it takes a look at like the wall that's been proposed between Mexico and the United States, and actually it shows you how building a wall would actually increase immigration to the United States, and some other things that you can go in there and deconstruct. It's very cool. North Africa. If you've heard anything about immigration from North Africa across the Mediterranean up into Europe, there's a really, really cool station on that about the very dangerous journey that a lot of North Africans take for different push and pull reasons. And the video I'd highly recommend you check out. For you boomers out there, we've got something on the graying of the population here in the United States and some of the effects that happen from that. Okay, and that's a result of things called like the baby boom and some other stuff that we'll talk about. That's how we get the term boomers. Redlining. I'll give you the briefest of intros on it, but you'll definitely want to watch the video there. Redlining was a practice that was done across the United States that targeted people of color and created some basically very discriminatory housing policies. And these redlining maps, you'll learn what they are, that were made, basically made it very, very difficult for people of color to kind of accrue wealth over time and some other things that you'll see. Now, Indianapolis had its own redlining maps, and I've got an article there and a map that actually shows you that. It's very, very interesting and some really, really important things to understand about our local state here. Now, related to that is then the Indiana interstates and how the interstates are constructed in central Indiana. And basically what you find with the redlining maps is that the interstates were designed to go through poor neighborhoods and to destroy them and avoid richer, predominantly white areas. In that interstate, there's an article there that helps you kind of explore why that decision was made and some of the people who lived in those places that lost their homes to interstates and other places. Snowbirds is a phenomenon you might be familiar with if you have especially older people in your family who tend to migrate down to the southern states. Could be Texas or Florida or California during the winter. That's called the snowbird phenomenon. You can click on that station and learn all about that. So hopefully these 7 here, there's one I'd like to add for gentrification eventually, but I haven't gotten to that one yet. So you can pick from the 7, you pick 4, and then you turn on the Schoology. And don't forget, again, to check out the info that you need to look at with the family tree and how to set that up. Okay, so I will see you in the next lesson, and I look forward to us, when I see you.